দিতে পারবে না।
Executive Committee of the National Economic Council approves 19 projects involving over 18,066 crore taka. Jatiyo সংসদ passes 3 bills including Land Crime Prevention and Remedy Bill 2023, Land Reform Bill 2023 and Sand Quarry Balumohol and Soil Management Amendment Act 2023. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to inaugurate the first ever 2-day Commonwealth Trade and Investment Forum starting from tomorrow. Goa's Al-Polash Urea Fertilizer Factory, largest in South Asia, built with 15,000 crore taka awaiting inauguration. 5,000 people fear dead in Libya after Storm Daniel brought severe rain and floods, many more still missing. And Sri Lanka is batting for winning target of 214 runs against India at Asia Cup 2023 Super 4 phase in Colombo. Assalamu alaikum viewers, this is News at 10 on BTV and BTV World. I am Imtiaz Ahmed Siddiqui. You just heard the headlines. Let's move on to the details of those and other stories.
আমাদের বাংলাদেশের ভাইয়েরা বোনেরা রক্ত দিয়ে দেখা গেছে যে দরকার যদি হয় আমরা বাংলার মানুষ রক্ত দিতে জানি।
The Executive Committee of the National Economic Council has approved 19 projects at a cost of 18,066 crore 52 lakh taka. The approval was given at ECNEC meeting held with ECNEC chairperson Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in the chair at the NEC conference room in the capital Shere-Bangla-Nagar today. Members of the cabinet, members of the Planning Commission and secretaries concerned were present in the meeting. Of the 19 projects approved by ECNEC, 12 are new and 7 are revised. The major projects approved at the meeting are emergency rehabilitation and reconstruction of various roads, bridges and culverts under Shunamganj and Hobiganj road divisions affected by the floods of 2022, land acquisition for construction of sewage treatment plants in Rayan Bazar area, expansion and development of Mongla port facilities, development of transmission infrastructure in southern part of Chattogram division and Bangabandhu high-tech city of Kaliakoir, protection of Majid Ghat zero-point area from erosion in the right bank of Podda River in Jazeera Upazila of Shariatpur district and Chatpur City Protection Rehabilitation Project. Briefing reporters after the ECNEC meeting, Planning Minister M.A. Mannan told reporters that the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has said that $1 billion of assistance will be received as climate fund from France. He said Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has directed to take projects in coordination with the Delta Plan. The Prime Minister has also directed to give importance to protecting the Sundarbans. At the beginning of the ECNEC meeting, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina unveiled the cover of the book titled State of Development, Impact of Mega Projects, published by the Development Journalists Forum of Bangladesh. Jatiyo সংসদ passed 3 bills including Land Crime Prevention and Remedy Bill 2023, Land Reform Bill 2023 and Sand Quarry and Soil Management Amendment Bill 2023 today. Land Minister Saifuzzaman Chaudhry introduced the bills in the সংসদ. The bills were passed through voice votes after discussion on amendment proposals at the House. Sitting of the House started with Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry in the chair. The scheduled questions and answers of the day were placed on table. Meanwhile, Parliamentary Standing Committee report on the Ministry of Water Resources was placed at the House today. Chairman of the committee, Ramesh Chandra Sen, put forward the report. Parliamentary Standing Committee report on the Ministry of Road Transport and Bridges was also placed at Jatiyo সংসদ. Chairman of the committee, Begum Roshan Ara Mannan, introduced the report. Later, Parliamentary Standing Committee report on the Zoo Bill 2023 and Bangladesh Daily Development Board Bill 2023 were placed at the House. Chairman of the committees concerned, Dhirendra Debnath Shombu, placed the reports. Industries Minister Nurul Majid Mahmood Humayun today introduced Bangladesh Patent Bill 2023 at Jatiyo সংসদ. Later, the bill was sent to the committee concerned to report back after scrutiny. Later, Deputy Speaker Mohammad Shamsul Haq Tuku conducted the সংসদ session. Sitting of the House will resume in the afternoon tomorrow. A 5-member delegation led by UNDP Assistant Secretary General for Asia and the Pacific, Kanni Vignaraja, paid a courtesy call on Speaker Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry at her office today. During the meeting, they discussed various issues including My Constitution app, implementing of SDGs, Ashram project, Rohingya issue, Bangladesh's transition from LDC list, Delta Plan 2100 and other issues. Dr. Shirin Sharmin Chaudhry said Parliament members can get information about the health of the people of their constituencies, education, how many people have been vaccinated and other issues through the My Constitution app and make effective steps accordingly. The Speaker said with the sincere efforts of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, 9 lakh landless people have been given houses for living and land for cultivation through the Ashram project. She said Bangladesh needs the sincere cooperation of international organizations for the repatriation of Rohingyas in a satisfactory way. Kanni Vignaraja said Bangladesh's name will be removed from LDC list in 2026, which is very promising. UNDP Bangladesh Resident Representative Stephen Lilla, Deputy Resident Representative Shonali Dayaratne, Assistant Resident Representative Anwarul Haq and Program Officer Mahmoodul Hassan were present on the occasion. The 2-day Commonwealth Trade and Investment Forum will be held in Dhaka from September 13 to 14 in a bid to boost trade, commerce and investment among the Commonwealth countries including Bangladesh. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has scheduled to inaugurate the event at the Bangabandhu International Conference Centre in Dhaka and present a Commonwealth Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Green Investment Award. The Commonwealth Enterprise and Investment Council, in partnership with Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and ZI Foundation, will organize the forum. Organizers said Commonwealth Trade and Investment Forum will give an extraordinary chance to Bangladesh to expand its trade and investment. Higher government and private sector representatives from Commonwealth states, including Bangladesh, will take part in 12 sessions in the forum. Around 300 foreign guests and 13 foreign ministers and parliamentarians will attend the forum. Organizers said Bangladesh can create new markets for RMG export and can attract foreign investors in the country by arranging the Commonwealth Trade and Investment Forum through using the Commonwealth Network. South Asia's largest Gorashal Potash urea fertilizer factory is awaiting inauguration. Around 98% work of the factory has already been completed. The factory, being built with a cost of 15,000 crore taka, will reduce the import of urea fertilizer, can also save foreign reserves. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina will inaugurate this mega project at the end of next month. The factory will produce 924 metric tons of urea fertilizer annually. Earlier last year, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina laid the foundation stone of the Gorashal Potash urea fertilizer factory in the North Shingdi. The new fertilizer factory will ensure the availability of urea fertilizer to the farmers at a lower cost and meet the growing demand in the country, thereby ensuring food security of the country. The construction work of the 190-kilometer highway between Tangail and Rangpur with 6 lanes has been progressing uninterruptedly. In the meantime, some portions of the road as well as bridges, culverts and flyovers have been opened. People of the northern parts of the country are now enjoying journey on the 6-lane highway. Once the construction of the highway is completed, it will ensure a smooth journey of passengers and movement of vehicles. Insiders say the digital highway, first of its kind in Bangladesh, will establish a network among South Asian countries. It will connect Bangladesh to the SASEC corridor, Asian corridor and BIMSTEC corridor. Permanent Under-Secretary of the UK's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, Sir Philip Barton, announced that Britain would provide around Taka 42 crore as new funding to support Rohingyas in Cox's Bazar and Bhashan Chor in Bangladesh. The new funding will be channeled through the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, said a press release issued by the British High Commission in Dhaka today. 6 years since the atrocities of 2017, which forced Rohingyas into Bangladesh, Barton said the UK continues to stand with the Rohingyas in Bangladesh and all those affected by the crisis. Sir Philip Barton is visiting Bangladesh for the 5th UK-Bangladesh Strategic Dialogue. And now, international news. At least 5,000 people are feared dead in Libya after Storm Daniel brought severe rain and floods to the eastern part of the country, sweeping entire neighborhoods into the sea, according to eastern Libyan officials. Relief convoys are moving from west to east in divided Libya as the internationally recognized government in Tripoli has declared the eastern region a disaster zone and announced it would be sending help. Heavy rains and flooding hit an area controlled by Libya's rival Eastern administration based in Benghazi. It estimated the death toll has now reached 3,000 as more than 1,000 bodies have been retrieved in the hardest hit Mediterranean city of Derna. The flooding was caused by 2 dams collapsing in the city's south. As a consequence, 3 bridges were destroyed. The flowing water carried away entire neighborhoods, eventually depositing them into the sea. Rescuers are racing against time to find survivors in the remote areas hit hardest by Morocco's deadliest earthquake in more than 6 decades, with the death toll climbing to nearly 3,000. Search teams from Spain, the United Kingdom and Qatar have joined Moroccan rescue efforts after the magnitude 6.8 quake struck late on Friday in the high Atlas Mountains, with the epicenter 72 kilometers southwest of Marrakesh. State television reported that the death toll has risen to 2,862, with 2,562 people injured. Rescuers say the traditional mud brick houses, ubiquitous in the region, reduced the chances of finding survivors because they had crumbled. Despite the scale of the damage, rescuers searching with dogs still hoped to find survivors. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has arrived via rail in Russia, where he is due to meet President Vladimir Putin. Moscow wants to buy North Korean ammunitions for the war in Ukraine, says the US. North Korea, meanwhile, wants food aid and possibly technology to help its banned nuclear missiles program. Analysts say Putin is in Vladivostok in Russia's far east, which is around 200 kilometers from the North Korean border. But it's not clear exactly where they will meet. Kim's train is reportedly heading north away from Vladivostok. One possible meeting point is Vostochny Space Center in Russia's Far East. This is Kim's first trip abroad in 4 years. He last met Putin face-to-face in 2019. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that the supply of F-16 jets to Ukraine will drag out the conflict. Reports say Ukraine has carried out a drone strike on in a Hodor city near the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian military said it has recaptured several strategic gas and oil drilling platforms from Russia in the Black Sea close to Crimea, which Moscow's forces had occupied since 2015. The recapture of the so-called Boyko Towers platforms takes back an asset that Russia seized during the annexation of Crimea and places Kyiv closer to retaking the occupied peninsula. The United States confirmed it had signed off on the transfer of $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds from South Korea, paving the way for 5 U.S. citizens to leave Tehran. The arch-enemies announced last month after protracted negotiations a deal in which the U.S. citizens were freed from prison and put under house arrest, with the expectation they will fly out of Iran once the funds are moved to an account in Qatar. Secretary of the State Antony Blinken notified Congress that he had gone ahead in a key part of the agreement, signing a waiver that will shield banks involved in the transfer from U.S. sanctions. The money transfer is a critical step in securing the release of these 5 U.S. citizens, a State Department spokesperson said. President Joe Biden's administration has insisted that Iran will only be allowed to use the money to buy food, medicine and other humanitarian goods, a point contested by Iran's clerical state, a nemesis of Washington since the 1979 Islamic Revolution overthrew the pro-Western Shah. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro arrived in Beijing today ahead of a meeting with China's Xi Jinping, state media reported, the final stint of a tour that began last week. While on board a high-speed train bound for the Chinese capital, Maduro broadcast a message on Venezuelan television praising the country's strong bilateral relationship. Maduro, who touched down in the southern city of Shenzhen on Friday, is expected to stay in China until Thursday for his first state visit to the country since 2018. The 60-year-old leader is seeking to secure membership for Venezuela in BRICS, a bloc of rising nations. Beijing is Venezuela's main creditor and has close ties with the diplomatically isolated, inflation-ravaged socialist nation. Now, some other international news in brief. President Joe Biden called for Americans to unite despite bitter political differences as the United States marked the 22nd anniversary of al-Qaeda's 9/11 attacks.
To search for his son.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump filed a motion on Monday seeking the recusal of the judge who is to preside over his historic trial for conspiring to overturn the 2020 election.
Made in the sentencing of other January.
A Russian passenger Airbus A320 flying from the Black Sea resort of Sochi to the Siberian city of Omsk with 167 people on board made an emergency landing in a Siberian field on Tuesday, officials said. Maria Ressa, a Nobel Prize winner and co-founder of the online news site Rappler, has been acquitted of a tax evasion charge in the Philippines, another legal victory in her battle against multiple charges filed during the government of former President Rodrigo Duterte. An international team of rescuers on Tuesday pulled to safety a U.S. explorer who spent 9 days trapped deep in the narrow tunnels of a Turkish cave with internal bleeding.
Cave explorer and researcher was on an international expedition of the Morka cave, Turkey's.
Back to home news. There is no symptom of improvement in the dengue situation across the country as over 2,005 have been infected and 11 died during last 24 hours. A press release of the Directorate General of Health Services said among the dead 3 were in Dhaka and 8 were outside Dhaka. 2,956 dengue patients were admitted to different hospitals across the country during the last 24 hours. Among them, 911 dengue patients were hospitalized in Dhaka city and 2,045 patients outside Dhaka. Meanwhile, no one died of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The country reported 7 COVID-19 positive cases as 425 tested in the last 24 hours. Corona infection rate was reported at 1.65%. And now weather. Met Office in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow said light to moderate rain or thunder showers accompanied by temporary gust wind is likely to occur at many places over Chattogram and Sylhet divisions, and a few places over Mymensingh, Khulna and Borishal divisions, and at 1 or 2 places over Rangpur, Rajshahi and Dhaka divisions. Besides, moderately heavy falls also likely to occur at places over the country. Day and night temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country, said the Met Office. And now sports news. Sri Lanka are now batting against India with a victory target of 214 runs in the Asia Cup Super 4 match in Colombo. Sri Lanka scored 108 runs for 6 wickets in 27 overs when reports last came in. Earlier, India won the toss and batted first. They were bowled out for just 213 runs in 49 overs and 1 ball. Captain Rohit Sharma scored 53 runs for India. Lankan bowler Dunit Walalage took 5 wickets, while Charit Asalanka took 4 wickets. To end the bulletin headlines once again. Executive Committee of the National Economic Council, ECNEC, approves 19 projects involving over 18,066 crore taka. Jatiya সংসদ passes 3 bills including Land Crime Prevention and Remedy Bill 2023, Land Reform Bill 2023 and Sand Quarry, Balumohol and Soil Management Amendment Act 2023. Prime Minister Sheikh to inaugurate the first ever 2-day Commonwealth Trade and Investment Forum starting from tomorrow. Ghorashal Potash Urea Fertilizer Factory, largest in South Asia, built with 15,000 crore taka, awaiting inauguration. 5,000 people feared dead in Libya after Storm Daniel brought severe rain and floods. Many more still missing. And Sri Lanka batting for winning target of 214 runs against India at Asia Cup 2023 Super 4 phase in Colombo. And that's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for being with us. Khudafis.